Well, hello everyone, and welcome back for our weekly interviews. I am Vera with Beauty Queens Galore, the pageant resource, and today I am so excited to chat with Angela Posillico. Posillico. There we go. There we go. I love that. And she is the CEO of Ms. International World and Miss Latina International. And I am super, super excited to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us today, Angela.
Well, thank you for having us, Vera. I'm very excited and very honored to be with you. And I know that Beauty Queens Galore is definitely a great pageant search. You guys do some wonderful things. I mean, and all the interviews that you give live stream, I do listen to a lot of them. So you find out what a lot of contestants are looking for. You find out what different directors do, and I think it's great because it's all about empowering these young women and opening up a lot of doors to things that they want to do.
And thank you so much. And like we were talking before we even, went live, so many of your title holders have joined us. It's just been truly an honor. I've even had to interview some of your title holders. So thank you so much for being such a huge supporter of us. And since you brought it up, being a director and CEO of a pageant, what more do you want to see from us from Beauty Queens Galore?
Well, I think we've seen a lot from you guys. I mean, you're very, very supportive. I mean, anytime I put a post up, you guys come in and, you like it or you share it. And I think just keep doing what you're doing. It's great. They always say you can't do too much, but you can't do too little. But I think what Beauty Queens Galore has done, they try to encompass almost everybody there. And I've even seen where some upstart pageants have come up and you guys have liked that. So you're giving everyone a star, whether you've been out there and you've been like a Miss Universe, a Miss World, a Miss America, or a Miss Earth, and then you've got other pageants out there. So you really are a great pageant source. Even going on the website, you can read and hear about a lot of things. So I do thank you for that. And I think a lot of contestants out there love this because it's a great place to go. And we find out, so much. And the fact that we do have the support.
Well, thank you again so much. And we appreciate all of your support. And speaking of you, if you don't mind sharing, tell us all about your own pageant experience.
Well, I'm going to try to make a long story short and how I got involved in the world of pageantry. Originally, I'm an entertainer. I graduated the Juilliard Academy of Music with a master's degree in Operatic Studies. And that was really my forte. I even was an understudy into Phantom of the Opera behind Sarah Brighton. And then I wound up doing the East Coast tour of Phantom of the Opera. And while I was also in the cosmetic industry, as you can tell, I was in that for about 30 years, even was a trainer for Lancome. And how I got involved with the pageant industry was I had a lot of pageant women that used to come up to my counter. And one girl one time said to me, I need a lot of work. And I looked at her with two heads. I said, you've got to be kidding. Okay. I mean, this girl was drop dead gorgeous, even without any makeup on. So, I did her makeup and she loved what I did. And she said, would you come to the pageant? She was competing in Mrs. International. I said, absolutely. And she was in Jersey and they were having the Jersey preliminary in Atlantic City. I went, I did her makeup. She won. She won Mrs. New Jersey. Okay. And then I followed her into Las Vegas. Now, she didn't win in Las Vegas, but at least she made the top 10. So everybody knew I worked for Lancome, and I started doing a lot of makeup for pageants. And then I was with the Miss American Petite pageant, and I was doing makeup back there. And what happened was their entertainer didn't show up that day. Somebody had a bright idea. Now, I'm not dressed for this. When I get on stage, I got to be dressed. Somebody had a bright idea saying, well, Angela sings. And I said, oh, no, I don't believe this. I'm back here doing makeup on all the contestants, and now they're talking about me singing. It just so happened that day that back then they were using tapes, not CDs. Just so happened I have a tape in the car. And they said, would you get up and sing? I said, well, it's a good thing I have some help here today. I said, because these ladies need to get ready. So I went out and I sang. And I'll never forget Lynn Razowitz from Mrs. New Jersey International was sitting at the judge's table. And they pulled my husband in to be a judge. And she did not know that was my husband sitting next to her. And She said, oh my God, she said, I've got to have this girl sing at my pageant. She said, do you know who she is? My husband said, yeah, that's my wife. So that was my introduction into pageants, because then I started performing. I wasn't doing makeup anymore. I started performing. The first pageant I won, and you're going to laugh on this one, muscular dystrophy, when they used to do their telethons, of course, when Jerry Lewis had it and he was alive, they ran a contest called The Greatest Legs of New Jersey. The first year I entered it, well, I laughed because I looked like this little twerp. I didn't know what to expect. And I was very disappointed. And I went home, and you know how it is. You went home crying and think that, oh, you could never do this again. Well, I had a very good friend that got a hold of me and says, we're going to change your whole image. And she did. When I went back the following year, I said to the director, I said, do you remember me? And he said, no. I said, you see that little dot in the picture? He said, oh my God. He said, what a transformation. I went out and I won. So I won the Greatest Legs of New Jersey. And then I competed in the Mrs. New Jersey Globe pageant, and I won that. And then I went out to nationals and I won the top 10. And then I went into Mrs. New Jersey US of A, and I was in the top 5 of that. So I think then the rest was history at that point.
And you got that pageant bug, as I always say.
Yeah, I got that pageant bug. And you know, the funniest thing is that Tracy Kemble, who still has the Mrs. Globe organization, and I was also her director for about 5 years, when she heard me sing, and this is something I really want to bring up, because a lot of women don't think that pageant can open doors, but they can. Even for someone like myself, who was, you know, I competed, but then I became a director. When she heard me sing, from that point on, I opened up the Mrs. US Globe Awards every year. And then I went to Greece with them, because I had won Director of the Year, and I went to Greece with the Mrs. Globe organization. But that woman opened up more doors for me than the William Morris Agency in New York ever could. My career skyrocketed. And I always say Tracy Kemble really discovered me. And until this day, I always consider her one of my greatest mentors in the world of pageantry. If it was not for her, I don't even think I probably would have gotten into Phantom of the Opera. And I played not only in Phantom, I played Las Vegas. I played the casinos in Atlantic City. I mean, I opened up for some notables back then. And that's what the world of pageantry did for me. So for all the girls that are listening, okay, and, you know, that was one of the things. I mean, women always say, well, you know, what about the prize package? And I understand women want to, you know, win something for their time. But what we do at Miss International World, we say we are a pageant of purpose, because we open up doors. And I learned that from Tracy. She always used to say to me, if you want a fur coat or you want a car, don't come to me. She said, but I can open up doors. And I can attest to that. That door opened from the time she heard me sing. It skyrocketed my career. And I'll never forget that. And I'm most thankful to having someone like that recognize me. But if I didn't go into the world of pageantry, I probably would have never gone down that road.
And see, like you said, you just never know, because the world of pageantry does open up so many doors. It's not just about that shiny crown and sash. It's literally about the journey. And because of your journey, look where you are now.
Exactly. And like I said, if I didn't take that plunge, you know, I think there's so many people out there. And I was talking to someone the other day, a gentleman that happened to be in the NFL, was very interested in what we were doing. And I said, you know what? I said, people are so very misconstrued about the world of pageantry. They think the girls just get out there and parade in a bathing suit or an evening gown, and they get that crown and banner on, and that's it, you know, show over. I said, no. I mean, I've had women in my organizations. Take, for example, Therese Garnier, our current reigning Miss International World. This is a woman who is a veteran of the United States Air Force. You had her on. She wrote a book called No Longer Silent. She's the youngest journalist to the Pentagon. Okay. And what I love about Therese, she's a go-getter. Okay. I mean, you know, we'll put her into a few things, but she's out there every day promoting that crown, promoting that banner, promoting her book. Sometimes I don't have to say anything to her. And I'm like, Therese, oh my God, this is absolutely amazing. So my ladies have really gone out there and have shown what pageantry is all about. I have another girl. I don't know if she's on tonight, but Susmita Patel. This is a great story. I'd have to say about 5, 6 years ago, I met her at a fashion show, and I knew there was something about her. And I said, you really need to come and compete in the pageant. And she literally, oh, I'm going to say this, pretty much almost told me to go to hell. All right. She had no gumption of getting involved. And I said to her, all right, I said, I'm going to tell you what. I normally don't do this. I said, I'm going to sponsor you in. I said, if you can turn around, she had 2 weeks to come in. I said, if you can refund me the money, the sponsorship money. I said, I have a feeling about you. Within a week, she reimbursed me all her sponsorship money. Okay. She went on to win Mrs. International World United States, won my second highest title, Miss International World Global, went on to work for the Global Trade Chamber, has her own company now called SP Fashion Direct, where, she does fashion shows, she manages models. She's also going to be doing something with another great gal that's on here tonight, not involved with pageantry yet. Okay, Karen Navarrete Lopez. Her and Susmita are going to be doing something called the House of Diva. Unbelievable where Susmita has gone. And she'll tell you, if she didn't come in to the pageantry, she said, I would have never thought of where I would have been today. But I had a feeling about her. I knew that if she got into pageant, I knew this girl, she was beautiful. When I looked at her, I said, what are you doing? And she said, well, I don't think I could win. I said, you know what? I've got this feeling about you. And I'm pretty good with that. If I see someone out there and I get that premonition, or that's half of 6 sense of mine kicks in, and look where she is today. She's the owner and CEO of SP Fashion Direct. She's also my coordinator. And I always say with a dream team. But if you ask her, she'll say, no, I told her. She kept telling me, no, 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 no. Finally, I convinced her.
So let me ask you, Angela, because your title holders, they're very successful, and I can hear the passion that you have for them. So what role do you think you play with your title holders being a director?
Well, I think if Therese was on here right now, she's the one that has said it. I'm going to get choked up because I'm going to tell you stories of why I do what I do. Therese said, Angela, you care. And that's the difference. And I'm going to go back to Tracy again. I learned that from Tracy Kemble and also a very good friend of mine, Lynn Razowitz in New Jersey. They said, if you're going to get in this business, just don't sit in the chair and be a once-a-year director. You better get in there and get your hands dirty and make sure that you do things for your ladies and you care. And back in 2007, I think what really changed me, you're going to laugh, I bring this in with a bang. On July 4th, I suffered a near fatal heart attack. I was on my way up to Disney World. And I had about 30 minutes that they could get to me, because if they didn't get to me in 30 minutes, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now. And that changed. I always had a giving heart, but that changed me. And I said, you know what? I've got a second lease on life. And I said to myself, what are you going to do with that second lease on life? And that's why I care, because I know these women come into this and they give their whole heart and they give their time. And anytime I've asked these ladies to do anything, unless, they've got a personal problem or they're ill or something, I don't get a no. I get a yes. And that's very unusual. So I always tell, every director runs their pageant the way they feel. They're all magnificent. But I always remember that if you're going to be in this business, you better care. And something I learned from my husband's ex-boss, which I try to do, promise what you deliver and deliver what you promise. And if you can't keep a promise, and I tell my girls straight out, look, I'm going to give this my best shot. I can't try. I'm going to try. I can't promise, but hey, if it comes through, great. Okay, this is what we've got. But when I know I can do something, I'll work 24/7. I've had girls that have called me 3 o'clock in the morning or messaged me from overseas and said, we can't believe you're up. I said, well, I'm thinking. And that's when I do my best thinking, is when it's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, because people are sleeping. I don't have a phone in my ear. And I'll be sitting up saying, hey, I got this great idea. And I keep a pad next to my bed and I start writing it down. And before I know it, I'm at it.
So tell me, Angela, how did you, come up with the Miss International World pageant?
Well, we did start out with Miss Latina International first.
Okay.
And my very, very good friend, who I've known for years, and I'm involved with the Global Trade Chamber, Al Otero. When I first came down here, I was going to work with the Globe pageant, but they already had a director. But I realized that the Latin market was very, very strong in all of South Florida. And I said, you know what? And I was working with another Latin pageant, but I wanted to do something different. I noticed two things. The Latin pageant wasn't doing a crossover where you could still have your roots within the Latin community, but you could cross over into the American market. And they were not doing a scholarship program. So my good friend Al said to me, he says, I think you better get and do a scholarship program. So we called up two of the colleges, and Nova Southeastern University had this program. They actually gave me two scholarship programs, one for the Miss and one for the Teen, and this is something we hope to bring back, in the amount of $40,000 a piece. So that was $80,000 that we got. And the way they broke it up is that it was $10,000 a year for 4 years. We were able to give that away. Now the title was Ms. Latina International. So if you were, there's Hispanic and then there's Latin. So if you were Brazilian and you were really Latin or Portuguese, you could come into this pageant and not have to worry about that. And or if you were born here, but let's say your parents were from Colombia or Argentina or Uruguay, but you had that 25 to 50% Latin background, you could get into the pageant. And Miss Latina took off and it was very, very successful. But then I was getting calls from women that, lived in India or lived in Germany or, lived in England and said, we don't have any Latin background at all. We want to get involved with you, but we don't know how. And that gave birth to Ms. International World, because now women from any part of the world can get involved with it. So you don't only have to be Latin. You could live wherever, okay? If you live in a cave in Alaska, you can join us, And I have to say, I have some great directors too. We have a great director in Uruguay. I want to give a big shout out to Dr. Rakshata Prabhu, who's my director in India, who sends me the most fabulous and beautiful women every year. The team that she just sent me, Sandhya Santanathan, we had her here on tour back in the beginning of March. Just an amazing, fabulous young lady. Okay, so look at her. You'd never like Landon. You'd never know she was a teen. So I'd have to say that, my directors are great. My dream team, all my girls, Smita, our model coach, Wilena Rodriguez. And speaking of a girl who's really gone far, long story short, she had done another pageant prior to mine. And she wasn't sure if she wanted to go back into pageantry. She came into ours and she won our supermodel title. Her career has totally taken off when she won that title. And we've had her with Supermodels Unlimited. Okay, she's not only competed in their fashion shows, which we've gotten a lot of great opportunities out of them. We use them a lot for our prize packages as well. But Melina has been on billboards in New York City like 100 to 200 feet high. And today, she models all over the place. So we've tried to open the doors, not only for modeling, but for girls that want to become acting. I've had girls that have become doctors. I had one girl that became an anesthesiologist. Another one became a cardiologist. And the reason being is because when they put that on their resume, a lot of companies look at that. And I do remember going back to Dawn Foley, who was Mrs. U.S. Globe in 1997. I'll never forget this story. She said she went for a job. She didn't get it. When she won the title of Mrs. U.S. Globe, and she went back to that same company, they hired her. And she wanted to know what the difference was. Because they saw that on her resume, they felt that she took the next step to do something for herself and the community. And she got the job.
Wow. So Angela, if young women sign up for your pageant, what are the different categories that are involved with your pageant system?
Well, of course, we have the main title is Miss International World.
Mhm.
Okay, then we have Miss International World Global. Now we do something a little bit different. We don't normally pull a top five. We have the first two because Miss International World Global is the official spokesmodel, okay, for the Global Trade Chamber, but is also our first runner-up. So if something happens to Miss International World, she would step into that position. But then we have Teen International World. We have a petite division for women that are 5'1" to 5'5". Okay, we have the supermodel division. We have a classic division for women that are 31 and up. Okay, and then we also have, then of course we have our Miss Latina International. So we give about, I would say, between 8 and 9 titles. We also have a little Miss International World.
So
And
there's
that,
a title for everyone. There's an opportunity for everyone.
well, that's just it. And we try to do the different categories because we figure, here's and a lot of women did come to me. That's the reason why we started that petite division, because I had a lot of women that said, you know what, I'm not 5'6", I'm not 5'7", but they're great models. I mean, they're great print models, and we've had some, we've had some great gals that have been in that petite division. Okay, so that has worked well for us, and we figured, you know what, have these different divisions so there's something there for everyone. And also, what I tell the ladies when they come into the pageant, that everybody's a winner. If you've got that crown and you've got that banner on your head, even if you don't win one of the main titles, you're there, you are still a winner. And we always tell them, the contestants, of course, if they want to go on to another pageant, that's fine. But my winners, I tell them that title is for life. That's why we don't put years on the banner. Because if, let's say, for instance, Therese can't get out there and make something, I could go back to Hunter. I could go to Gelia. You want to talk about a success story? Gelia Bariva, who came to me in 2019. She just put a post out. She said, want to increase your modeling career? Go compete in Miss International World. Her career has so totally taken off. I am so proud of her. Okay. And if, like I said, if Hunter can't make it, I could go to Gelia. And anytime I ask Gelia to come out, put the crown and banner on, I'm there. Okay. So that's why we do these things, because we try to make things different. And we try to make it where, if a woman gives up her crown, she doesn't feel like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. And I tell them, you're always welcome. You want to go out and put that crown and banner on? Once your title is up, as long as I know about it, I have no problem with that.
Wow, I absolutely love that. And I love the key word that you've mentioned this entire interview is opportunities. You've said that so much. So I can hear right now, as one of your title holders, they can expect several amounts of different opportunities.
Totally. And if they come up with an idea, I'll back them up 100%. If I think it's something that is great for the organization and is great for them, why not? That's what it's all about, opening doors. And I tell them, I say it on stage when I'm at the pageant. If I ever find a day where I'm going to sit here and do nothing, I'll quit. I'll resign myself. But that's not me. Okay. I'm like one of these go-getters. You know what? There's times where the girls do something and I say, wait a minute, I'm going to walk through that door. Because you never know, again, even for directors or owners, there are opportunities. And you never know you never know where your next contestant is going to be. Okay. Here's a funny story. This is going back when I was in Jersey. I was riding the train. The girl said to me, oh, I love your outfit. I love your makeup. We started talking. And I said, well, I've been involved with pageantry. She said, really? She said, something I always wanted to do. And I brought her into my pageant. So you never know where you're going to be, starting a conversation. And, of course, and another thing that we do with the entry fees, we try to help the girls with that. But this year, we're going back to Margaritaville at sea. We're going on their new ship, the Islander. And we've got 5 days, 4 nights. And our port of call is Cozumel, Mexico.
Fun.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, our entry fee, it includes a lot. You get your accommodations. That's all your taxes, your port charge, your gratuities. You get all your food. Okay, we've got on this ship, we've got 16 restaurants. 8 of them are for free. So that's included in your price. You want to go eat? You go, yeah, okay. Let's say, for instance, we're rehearsing. You miss something. You're hungry at 3 o'clock in the morning. Pick up the phone, room service. They'll deliver it. Okay. All your soft drinks are included. We include the crown. We include the sash. We include the hair. We include the makeup. All the pictures of the pageants, the video of the pageants, and whatever else we could throw in. Oh, there's swimwear. That's included as well, too. So we try to make it where, okay, you have an entry fee, but you're not doing here and there or whatever. And when you're on ship, like I said, it's a one-stop shop. You're hungry, go eat at any time. I mean, if you we always say breakfast is such and such a time, but the breakfast buffet opens up at 6 o'clock in the morning. If you can't wait, go ahead. There you go. And if anybody's a vegan or vegetarian on the ship, they actually have a buffet for people that, want to do that. Okay. Where in a hotel, sometimes it's a little bit different, but on the ship, it's unlimited. So you can do whatever you want. And at the same time, if we're not in a rehearsal, whatever, you're like getting a vacation. Here you are on ship. You're going into Cozumel, Mexico. So if there's a day that we're not rehearsing or doing a lot, sit out on the deck and have a lovely time.
And you know what? I love that because it gives the contestants an opportunity to really get to know one another and hang out with one another. It is like a vacation. You're there for a pageant, but it's a vacation. It's a chance to get to know people and lots of food and fun.
Yes, lots of. And you know something? I started that. The pageants going on ship, because once I did it, you know how many pageants I noticed started doing that, and fashion shows. So I was the originator of that. Okay. Once I started putting the pictures out there, I said, yeah, I did start something. I started phenomena. But again, like I said, you're out there, your family and friends can enjoy it. And a lot of times we don't have the girls go off the ship because we try to keep everybody together. But if the family and friends want to go out for the day and want to enjoy the island, or they want to do it, go ahead. You've got that opportunity to do it, where you're not stuck in a hotel or we have to arrange a special tour. You've got everything at your fingertips.
And I love that. And you mentioned so many different qualities of your title holders. So what do you look for in a title holder? Is there certain qualities that you look for?
Well, we always say beauty is skin deep. Of course, all my girls that come in are all gorgeous on the outside. But, we look for a girl that, has a platform. We look for a girl that, can take it to the next level. Is she intelligent? What has she done? What does she continue to do? Just an all-around person. And we always tell the girls when they come into this, be yourself. Of course, you're going to look at your competition a little bit. I did that too when I was, in the entertainment business, or even when I competed in competitions. And it was my wonderful husband who said to me, look at it, but don't dwell on it. He said, because if you dwell on that competition, you're going to go out there and you may not do as well as you think. Be yourself. Do your own thing. And I do find the women that are themselves and have a good time with it, those are the ones that excel and wind up winning. And like I said, I learned that a long time ago. When I just went out there, and even today when I get on stage, I'm myself. You put a mic in my hands, forget it. That's it. That you actually see. I always tell people that's the real me. That's where my personality comes out, because I've done it all my life. And I hate a script. If someone says to me, "Oh, we're going to give you a script," there's a teleprompter, I go, forget it. Just tell me what you want me to say, or give me the gist of what you want me to say, and I'll take it from there. And it comes out better because now I'm saying it in my own words. And when I'm on stage, and it's a trick that I've told the girls, when I see somebody getting stage fright, I said, do yourself a favor. The audience may think you're looking at them. Kind of glance at the clock or glance at the wall. Just glance back and forth. That's a trick that I still do today because I never know what an audience is going to be like. So when I first go out there, I'm like, uh-oh, I got to warm them up. So as a way that I can do it with my eyes, I'm looking around. You think I'm looking at you, but I'm really not. And then after a while, when everybody starts warming up, then my head goes right down into the audience. So there's a lot of tricks to that trade.
Of course. And I love the fact that you empower all of these women, not just the title holders, but anybody that is involved in the system. You have a way of empowering them and offering them so much. And so how do they pay it forward and empower other women through your organization?
Well, I think by just these women getting out there. And one of the things that I do, like for instance, we got invited to go to the this Haiti pageant this coming Sunday, and my girl, that's the global winner, Sclavche Pierre, she's Miss Haiti. Now we're going there, and I tell the girls, look, don't shun another pageant system. We're all in this together. If you're invited, go. As a director, if I'm invited to another pageant, I'll go, because the way I look at it is that we never know if a girl from another pageant system is going to come to us. And if anybody from my organization, when they give up their title, if they're going to go to another pageant system. So we're all in this together. Why not work together? I'll give you an example. And I've had several girls from my system that have gone into Miss Universe. Several years ago, the director from Peru, he came, one of my girls, okay, Vanessa Gamoye, he wanted her to compete Miss Universe. He knew she was getting close to giving up the title. He actually flew into Miami to meet with me. And he said, look, I don't want any conflict of interest. He said, if you want her to wait until she gives up the title, he said she could compete next year. I said, look, she's 3 months away or 4 months away, I said, from giving up the title. I said, but this is Miss Universe. If it was something smaller, I'd probably say, well, wait. But that was a feather in my cap and a feather in her cap, because now I could say that I had a girl that was looked at from my organization to compete in a Miss Universe preliminary competition. I had another girl, Francisca Garcia, who went to Chile. Okay. And the director said, look, she can still come to your pageant and give up the title. I'll make sure she does everything she needs to do. She went down there. She was first runner up. But we can say that we've had at least 3 or 4 girls that came out of our pageant that went into Miss Universe. So I looked at that as a phenomenal opportunity, because if I just shut the door on them and said, I do weigh the facts. Like I say, if it's something small, I'll tell them, look, why don't you wait? But anything like that, or a girl wants to go to Miss World, says, hey, I've got this option. Why would I close the door? That's the opportunity that they have. But that makes me look good as a director. And that girl could turn around and say, you know what? Angela didn't stop me from doing this. She allowed me to go there. She allowed me to, because what would happen if one of these girls won a preliminary, went into Miss Universe and won Miss Universe? I'm not going to stop that opportunity. That's, to me, that was amazing. So if they come to me and they ask me this, we weigh the facts, we work it out, and we go from there.
And I love that. And like you said, we are literally all in this together, essentially. We really are. It's a huge sisterhood.
It's a sisterhood, and if you're gonna go again, like I've had a lot of girls that have come to my pageant that have judged, that come from other pageants. I have a weekly show called Make Our World Your Runway. And it's on Roku TV, and it's also on the Global Trade Chamber YouTube channel. And I've interviewed girls from other pageants. I said, use my show as your platform to get the word out there. I said, this is not a conflict of interest. And a few of them have decided when their reign was over to come to us. But I open it up to everybody. I interview people from pageantry, modeling, beauty, the entertainment business. It's an open platform. So I interviewed a few weeks ago the mayor from Fort Lauderdale. So we try to mix it up a little bit. But I tell the ladies, you want to go on my show? Use it as your platform. Just because I may be a director of my pageant doesn't mean you can't get your word out.
That's right. And so, what advice would you give someone who may be interested in becoming a director like yourself, and they just maybe don't know where to start?
We had this discussion a few weeks ago, and I tell people, look, you can look me up, call me, send me an email. I will, I'll let you know what I've done. I'll try to give you some words of wisdom, coach you. If anybody wants to become a director, I'll help them. Like I said, I've worked with other pageants where I've sent them women, they've sent me a girl. To me, I don't see a problem with that. All right. I know have been some pageants where, the girls got a title. They don't want them talking to anybody else. I'm not like that. Okay. Because like I said, we are in this together. And if you're going to be a director, I would say, or want to start a pageant, keep an open mind, work with you women, provide them a lot of opportunities. And, as much as the girl has to work the title, the director has to work the other side. I have to work the pageant. Okay. If I don't, what am I doing? So I sit in this chair, but I work it every day. I try to find different opportunities for the girls. They have an opportunity, they bring it to me. I'll say, okay, let's discuss it. Let's see what we can do. But as a director, it's a full-time job. You've got to be, I always say, you got to be in it 100%. Even when you're sleeping, you're in it.
Oh, absolutely. Especially when you're passionate about it. And I can hear and feel how much passion you have. So my question for you is, how do you become a 100 successful woman such as yourself? Because you wear many hats and crowns. So
okay, I'm glad you asked that question. All right. Two things. I became a 100 successful woman in business because of the fact that I had this a pageant, and I've worked with the Global Trade Chamber. And that is another thing that I can do for my ladies. I was published in the book. Okay, here it is. Let me get it. The 100 most successful women in business. Now, one of the things that we're doing this year is the end of my pageant is in the beginning of October. At the end of October, whoever wins Miss International World, we're going to be talking to some sponsors to get them to come to Las Vegas the end of October and compete in the fashion show for the 100 Successful Women in Business Gala and Awards. This is another opportunity that I can open up for my ladies. If you have a story, Volume 3 is about ready to come out. We could get you published in that. We could get you published on the cover of Success Stories. So that's another opportunity, okay, that we have. Also, myself, and I spoke about Susmita Patel, and I'd like to give a big shout out to Dr. D. Thompson from Purpose Never Dies. We both were recognized and got the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award from President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris for empowering women. Now, that has nothing to do with politics. That is strictly what you do in community service. That award was actually started by the first President Bush because he felt that there was a lot of people out there that did a lot of great things for the community, especially your service people, doctors, anybody that was in the community, like people that work with certain charities like Make-A-Wish or the Cancer Society. So you have to do 4,000 hours of community service, of course, which most of your military people do. And, I've done that throughout the years. And it's great because when you have something like this, these are the opportunities that you can give to your women. I can submit, there's a few women that I will be submitting their names. Okay. You have to go, there's a process you have to go through. Okay. Especially when it comes to the Presidential Achievement Award. The 100 Successful Women in Business is a little bit easier. But if you have a story to tell and you've done some phenomenal things in your life, that's what you can get into.
Absolutely. And I love that, Angela. You definitely are empowering. And I love how much you empower other women through your pageant system. And the key, like I said, the key word with you is opportunity. To me, it's just essential. There's so many things that these women are doing, your title holders are doing, that ultimately a lot of people get involved in pageantry to be able to be involved in modeling in the entertainment industry. So to me, the opportunity is a prize package because you do offer so many opportunities to all of the women that are a part of your pageant system, which is what
exactly. And anybody listening, we don't want to forget about Miss Therese, her book, No Longer Silent. I'll tell you, when I read this book, not going to want to put it down. Every time I look at it, I'm like, wait a minute, did I miss something? It is a fabulous book. Okay. And that book is going to become a bestseller. All right. And on April the 28th, we're actually doing a fundraiser. We're partnering with the North Beach Art Gallery and charity. We're doing a fundraiser because Therese came up with this great idea about doing a retreat in August, a women's empowerment retreat. So we are raising money for the girls that won the pageant so that they can go there for a few days, and they can talk about women's issues, do some yoga classes, maybe really have a chance to become empowered, and maybe what we can do to even better the next winners. So these are the things that my ladies do. Okay. And when Therese came up with this idea, I said, oh my God, that's fabulous. And when we thought about doing a fundraiser, she said to me, get involved with an art gallery. She said, because artists, they want to get their paintings out there and they'd love to donate proceeds. And she put that bug in my head because there's an art gallery that I've been dealing with for the last couple of years. And she said, oh, great. Let's do a big fundraiser with this. So, sometimes I get too close to the problem. I can't think about something, but my girls will. Okay. And here's a funny story. When people say, who owns the company? I said, not me, them. I said, they own it, not me. I said, I just listen. I just advise. That's kind of the running joke that we have. I said, no, talk to them. They own it. I said, okay.
And it's appreciated because they do work so hard. But Angela, before you go, we have to play a game. I mean, it's part of Beauty Queens Galore. I have to play this game with you because there's some fun questions here. Like, the game is called This or That. And I'm curious to know how you're going to answer this or that. Okay. So first things first, pause time or rewind time?
Say that again. You broke up a little bit.
Pause time or rewind time?
Rewind time.
That's a good one. Road trip or plane ride?
Road trip.
Okay. Dress or jumpsuit?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, I'm going to say jumpsuit because I am definitely a jumpsuit person and a very fancy jumpsuit person.
I was going to say, yes, she's a diva. She's got this. Are you a coffee or tea drinker?
Tea.
Got to have the tea. Do you prefer in-person interview with judges or virtual?
In person.
Oh, city or countryside?
City.
I was going to say, you a city girl. Indoor venue or outdoor venue for
indoor
finals?
Indoor.
Ooh, local sponsors or national sponsors?
That's a good question too. Because you can get them from both, but I'm going to say national.
Okay. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
I was going to say, you stay up pretty late. So, underdressed or overdressed?
Say that one again.
Overdressed or underdressed?
Overdressed.
Always. So, outdoor photo shoots or studio for promotional content?
Studio for promotional content.
That's a good one. Okay. Okay. Here's your last one. So, emphasis on physical beauty or intelligence?
Intelligence.
Absolutely. Angela, I can't say enough of how much I've enjoyed talking with you. Like I said, I can feel your passion. I can feel the love you have, not only for the organization, but solely for these women and all the opportunities that you're giving them. It's just so grateful. And before you go, just let us know where people can find you or gain more information about either Miss International World or even Miss Latina International World.
Well, you can always go to my email, which is msintlworld@aol.com. We are on Instagram as Miss International World. And on Facebook, I normally use my Facebook page, which is pretty much my personal page, Angela Posillico. So they can get me anywhere there, and email us. Our website is msinternationalworld.com. We're in the process of doing a brand new website, which hopefully it's taking a little bit of time, but we're making it magnificent. It should be up very, very shortly. And we're also on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as, I believe, Ms. International World. So we've got several different places where they can definitely reach us.
You're not going to be hard to find, in other words, at all.
No, I'm never hard to find. I always tell people I like to hang out in the gym. So I always tell people if they wanted to come after me, just check all the gyms around here. You'll find me.
You're going to be found, you're going to be reached, and I can't say enough how much we appreciate you being here. Thank you again for being such a huge supporter of Beauty Queens Galore. So everybody, you know how to find Angela. Thank you all so much for joining us. Again, I'm Vera with Beauty Queens Galore. And until next time, I hope everyone has a wonderful week. Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you so much. Have a great one. Bye now.
Angela.